There's so many amazing albums that have come out in April that I want to tell you about, including one that might just be the death metal album of the year. Plus, there's a giant eagle's nest here. Death Metal Pug is next. Back to Death Metal Pug. I'm Trevor Pugnads. I want to be a rock star when I grow up. The purpose of this is to have fun and talk about music. If for some reason we can help out your band, project, or business, please reach out to us at deathmetalpug@gmail.com. We're looking for an additional voice. Email us as well if you'd like to be involved. I'd like to thank Johnny Frank for being on last week's episode. So much awesome stuff has come out in April. Last time we discussed that Archspire album. We talked about Immolation and Bilmuri. All came out April 10th and were all good. But wait, there's more. If you don't know Inferi, Inferi, give it a go. A more technical, heavier Black Dahlia murder is how I would describe it. Came out April 10th as well. Summoning the Lurch, but more modern with sprinkles of deathcore. Just a pinch, not enough to mess it up or anything in my opinion. The title track on that album was a pleasant surprise for me for sure. We've got a lot of concerts coming up in April and May in Chicago, so we're super jacked about that. Death Metal Pug is gonna hit up Uda show, that Behemoth, Theocide, Immolation show in about 10 days or so. Probably less by the time this goes up. By the time my producer puts this up on the channel, I guess. On tour with Archspire is Mutilation Barbeque, and they released a 4-song EP titled Flesh Regenerated. See the last video for more on Archspire's new album, Too Fast to Die. But they're touring with them, and I like this EP a lot. I like it better than 2024's full length. Be sure to check out this band and all 3 of their EPs. They've been great, and I especially like 2021's self-titled EP, featuring the song with the riff stuck in your head for days, Acid Tub. Take a shot at that Pissrot album as well. It was called Absolute Form, and it came out April 17th, 2026. Grimy death metal is in abundance right now. Track 1, I was kind of like, yeah, I've heard this before type of thing, but track 2 is where the album took off for me. Lifeless Subterranean Frontier is just over 5 minutes of sick death metal with groovy changes in between song sections. So yeah, give that Pissrot album a try. I'm more into Nate Garrett than his band Spirit Adrift, which released its final album April 10th as well here this year. He says he's done with Spirit Adrift. If you're new to Death Metal Pug, Nate Garrett's the one that made our intro song. But the reason I got out of bed today was to tell you about the Reeking Aura release on the Promise of the Moon, April 17th, 2026. Reeking Aurora is a relatively new New York, New Jersey death metal band formed in 2019 by veterans of the underground extreme metal scene. They often are described as death metal with strong old school influences rather than modern technical death metal is what I guess I'll say. If you've heard their prior stuff and didn't think much about it, give this new one a try, as it is a high watermark for the band and maybe death metal to date in 2026. Yes, I'm a bold mother. This project reportedly began as a collaboration between guitarists Ryan Lipsky and Rick Habib. You know the vocalist Big Willie Smith from Artificial Brain and Afterbirth, and both excellent in all of that. A little callback here. Willie is also featured on a track on the new Mutilation Barbeque EP, song 2 if I recall, as well. 9 tracks, 32 minutes, but track 5 is a little interlude to kind of break up the album, if you will. This album, Promise of the Moon, comes out of the gate hard. First song, Concrete Basin Bath, is just dense, thick death metal. Man, it's got like ripping guitars, fast drums, blast, double kicks, Will's kind of like well-known vocals that he does. It's not quite like the deep Afterbirth, Artificial Brain, like constant gurgle type of thing, but a little bit more traditional vocals out of it. He still gets deeper than a 500-pound man's grave. He still gets deeper than a submarine with trust issues. He still gets deeper than a philosopher in a hot tub. He still gets deeper than the pockets on cargo shorts. He still gets deeper than a pothole in springtime in Chicago. He still gets deeper than the end of a true crime podcast's rabbit hole. He still gets deeper than my search history after midnight. He still gets deeper than a corpse pit in the rainy season. He still gets deeper than the growl coming out of a clogged drain in hell. He still gets deeper than the gurgle from a chainsaw baptism. Will Smith describes the lyrical themes as agricultural metal. Last song on the album, the title track on the Promise of the Moon, is about fishing, and I'm not joking here unless the band is. I'm guessing this is what the album cover is supposed to be. Sea or water or moon, or maybe like waves on a lake on the moon, I guess. Just when you think you have this album figured out, track 3 and 4 come in. Track 4, Manure Like Magma, throws some curveballs in. Manure Like Magma, that's like when you feed a cow Takis, I think. Early album highlight for me is the song What Only Worms Witness. There's such a groove to that, but also like tremolo riffs that are layered in such an exciting way. Plus the song has like a tension to it that pushes the song forward and almost has like an uplifting and then world crashing down vibe with Will Smith's deep gurgles. This baby went right on my Mow the Yard playlist. The title track is great as well. The first song on the album kills. Just do this whole thing. There's so much melody on this album, making it repeatable in a good way. Chunky riffs, fun, scratchy tremolos, varying tempos. I can't help but get some mellow death or like melodic black metal flourishes in this thing. Is brutal melodic death metal a thing yet? Oh, and Dan Swanson mixed and mastered this album. Highly recommend it. I kind of want more traditional song structures. The first few times I listened to it, but that'll probably go away as repeat listens will have me basically memorize this album. And I think I will know this album backward and forward because I immediately enjoyed it upon first listening to it, and I continue to enjoy it. Check out Reeking Auras on the Promise of the Moon. Jam that shit! Jam that shit! Bilmuri shirt this week catches him under a tent during a tornado warning at the Weed Eater, Conan, and Telekinetic Yeti show. Per Jeremy, the tent element was like being at a stoner revival. Regarding the shirt, Jeremy's choice was Putrid Virgin Mary by Oryx. This is effectively his version of a tuxedo. Jerry shots! Jabba shots! Jabba shots! Whoa. Bekor Qilish release Consecrated Abysses of Dread, March 27, 2026. Although I didn't find it on my music app until April 10th, so I'm counting that as April. Bekor Qilish is an Italian avant-garde, experimental, extreme metal, progressive, black, death metal project centered around multi-instrumentalist Andre Brazzone, B-R-U-Z-Z-O-N-E, formed in Milan in 2021. The project is known for highly technical songwriting, discordant riffs, abrupt structural changes, and experimental elements that blend, I'd say, black metal, death metal, prog, and just electronic textures as well. The name Bekor Qilish is reported to mean abolishment in Uzbek. What the fuck? Uzbek is a Turkish language spoken mainly in the country Uzbekistan. What the fuck? Uzbekistan is a landlocked country in Central Asia, bordered by Kakistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and Turkmenistan. With its capital in Tashkent, it is the most populous nation in the region and a cultural crossroads along the historic Silk Road. Rich in natural gas, cotton, and history, Uzbekistan plays a key role in Central Asian economics and heritage. Are you with me? Pull that up on your maps. Are you sure? Yeah? Shit. Forgive my pronunciation, as I don't speak Uzbekistan. Gosh, how do we even get to this band? Gorguts, Imperial Triumphant, but less musically dense and more European is like what I would say. Quirky, weird, still metal, techy, jazzy maybe. Feels like kind of like there's random moments, might be on purpose. The album cover looks like an alien turd dropping into a cosmic toilet bowl. Nothing against the album art. It reminds me more of like a cavernous death metal album cover, and kind of a simple statement considering what's inside this record here. This is a quirky LP that has dynamic vocal changes, synths, varied guitars, bass, and drums. 10 songs, 30 minutes, so nothing stays put for that long. Any sample we show will not do the album justice. Some songs have vocals, some don't. Less dense than death metal, no stylistic sticking point. No, all genres are repped here, so I think we've kind of made that point a few times. It feels fast, like it's over. Get a glass of water and then you're kind of ready to go again. The lyrics on this album are deeply existential. For example, the world, far from being dust fated for silence, has always already been luminous, always revealing the internal structure of truth, where death is the beyond of becoming's illusion. It's a fun ride, this album. The first part of this album feels more intense in a way. It's got like thin little guitar chords layered over rhythmic drums. I think a drum machine. Some of the drums on this album sound live, and the others definitely sound like a machine. Press release touts the band as extreme, experimental, progressive metal-like, and they cited bands like Cynic, Atheist, Pestilence, and even Necrophagus. Honestly, I don't hear those bands that much, but those types of death metal bands have never been like, you know, my favorite kind of death metal bands choices. Not that I don't like them. And I would point out, like, Necrophagus only made like 2 albums, right? And I wouldn't have compared it or connected it to Bekor Qilish. To those bands, after listening to that album, not a negative, but if you're into like progressive or tech death or something like that, it's just another reason to give this album a try, I think. Tracks 4 through 10 fly by for me on this album. It's not that you know, the first 3 tracks drag or anything, but it just feels like track 4 kicks off like a whole ride of the album that takes it through the end. The guitars and especially the vocals vary so much on this album. Rasps, yells, even some clean singing on this thing, but it all flows under like a constant driving, like forward moving, feels like forward movement on the album being pressed forward. This is worth a listen. If you hate it, I think you'll still appreciate what they're trying to do here. The bits of guitar are what appeal to me the most on this album. Just like cool, interesting riffs and stuff. If you like this at all, I think you'll also enjoy their 2023 album, The Flesh of a New God. A little bit longer. I'd say maybe slightly more straightforward metal album there. Kinda. Still plenty of variances on that thing. Depending on my mood, either album is enjoyable to me. Check out Bekor Qilish, Consecrated Abysses of Dread. Do you know Void Hanger Records? It's the Bekor Qilish band label, definitely worth mentioning here. Bandcamp noted obscure, unique, and uncompromising visions from the metal underground. Another album from that label that was pretty good is Ain Sof, Ainsof, and its album Theos Vel Samuel. Came out March 27th, 2026. 3 songs, 45 minutes. The 3 songs are titled 1, 2, 3, and they are long songs. Shoot, I meant to text that band over to Germany. This Brazilian band has been around for 20 years, I guess. But I only found this album on this one album on music apps. The other 2 items are on Bandcamp, it looks like. This album is put together really well. On these kinds of heavy bands with the more like slow prodding music, after usually like 8 minutes in, I'm usually like, start the song! They go into double time once in a while to like add variety. I feel like it's telling me a story or guiding me through an old haunted house at first listen. But if you actually dig into the lyrics, you will probably actually see quite the narrated story laid out. This is probably a whole other layer here if you spent time digging into the lyrics. Big vocals, but not like just constant cavernous barfs for long periods of time. It feels like it's narrating a tour of a scary church at midnight, but never in a hokey way. Oh, Ain Sof, or per chat jip, is a Hebrew mystical phrase roughly translating to the endless light. Translation of the album title wasn't clear, but something around God or Samuel, maybe a demon or angel, or same thing, I guess. Multiple language were reflected in the album title, so it confused chat jip a little bit. heavy but not techy, long arrangements, but they feel like they actually go somewhere. The second song is like light black candles and sit in a circle around a pentagram while listening to it kind of experience, but not in like a dorky 80s movie kind of way, but in like a I'm uncomfortable watching this kind of way. Final track 3 at 10 minutes, the shortest one on the LP. It has a more aggressive approach to it, faster, heavier leaning, less atmosphere on that one. It's like the first track went into an abandoned church. Track 2 played the Ouija board, and track 3, now we got to deal with what was summoned here. They have like a chuggy kick drum heavy moment about the 4-minute mark on that song. It isn't overly flashy, but it feels really good leading up to that moment. Check out Ain Sof Theosvel Samuel. Also, check out the band Civil Carnage, Abomination in the House of God. That's it.